Welcome students to Era of Zoology Educational Institute. I am Rajdeep Acharya and today I am going to teach you the graphical representation of data, the basic introduction. So let's get started. So the first question, that is, what is actually the graphical representation of data? The answer is when the quantitative data represented by some chart or diagram this will be termed as graphical representation of data. So from this scenario, it is clear to us that when the quantitative data are represented via some chart or diagram, this scenario will be termed as graphical representation of data. That means you are actually representing the quantitative data in some chart figure, in some diagrammatic figure. So now we will talk about those chart, those diagram which are actually included, through which we are actually representing the quantitative data in some chart or diagram. So the charts are, the first chart is line chart, the second chart is bar chart, the third chart is actually pie chart, fourth chart is histogram, fifth chart is frequency polygon, frequency polygon, and the sixth chart is ogive, OGIVE. So the chart through which we are actually representing this quantitative data into some chart or diagram are actually those line chart, bar chart, pie chart, histogram, frequency polygon, and also ogive. So these are actually the chart or diagram. Okay guys, students. So now we will talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of graphical representation of data. So at first we will talk about the advantages. So the advantages are, now we will talk about the advantages. Now we will talk about the advantage. So the first advantage is when you would represent the quantitative data in some chart or diagram, then it will be very easy to everyone to understand the quantitative data. That means the first point is easy to understood. Second point is when you will represent the quantitative data in some chart or diagram, then it will be very easy to you also, and it will be very easy to other also to detect the mistake. So the second point is easy to detect mistake or error. mistake. Now the third point is, when you will represent the quantitative data in chart or diagram, then it will be very attractive. So it is very attractive. It is very attractive to represent data. And now the fourth point is, when you will represent the quantitative data in chart or diagram, then always remember that in a chart there are two kind of axes. One is x-axis and another one is y-axis. We always consider x-axis for a particular thing, and we always consider y-axis also for a particular thing, and then we actually look for the create of this chart. So we actually create a relationship between two or more figures. So the fourth point is, it create relationship or relation, whatever you say, relation between two or more figure. So these are the advantage. Now look students, we all know that a particular thing that have advantage also that have some disadvantages. So now we will discuss about those disadvantages. So the disadvantages are disadvantage. So the disadvantages are, actually when you will look to represent the quantitative data in chart or diagram, then it will take more time, because at first you have to collect those data, then you have to do some mathematical equation, and then you will get the result. Then you can actually interpret those quantitative data in a chart. So it will take more time, so it will consume more time. So the first disadvantage is, it consume lot of time. And the second disadvantage is, it does not interpret the whole figure, the whole details, the whole fact about the thing. So maybe it is very easier to understand, it is very easier to detect the mistake, the error, but it will never tell you the total fact about a particular thing. So the second thing is, it does not show the whole fact or details. So these are the advantage and these are the disadvantage of graphical representation of data. So our today's lecture was based on the basic introduction of graphical representation of data. So I hope after watching this lecture, you student will be able to know what is the basic fundamental of graphical representation of data, and why actually we perform this graphical representation of data. And in the next lecture we will discuss about the line, bar, pie, histogram, frequency, polygon and OV charts in details. So Now we will talk about some questions that can come from this topic. I mean the basic introduction of graphical representation of data. Okay guys? So at first I have to remove this. The question that can come from this lecture are, first question is, what is graphical representation of data? So first question, what is graphical representation of data? So it is the first question that has the probability to come. The next question is, write two advantage and two disadvantage of graphical representation of data. And the third question that have the probability to come is, write three chart or diagram name which are actually involved to interpret the quantitative data into chart or diagram. So I hope after watching this lecture you guys will be able to write the answer, and if you students have any question regarding this topic, or if you want more lecture again on this topic, then do comment in the comment section. Then I will make again a new lecture in deep on this topic again, and I will discuss about those questions in the comment section. If you have any question regarding this topic, do write your question in the comment box and I will there for you to answer the question. So thank you so much for watching this lecture till this end. I hope this lecture will help you a lot to solve your questions regarding this topic, graphical representation of data. And do like this lecture, subscribe this channel, and also share this lecture among your friends who are in need of this topic. Thank you so much for watching till this end. Tata.